Welcome into K-State Online. I'm Mason Voth. That is Drew Galloway. We talked about commitments recently. We got another one to discuss here on the KSO show. K-State adding Marcus Johnson from Bowling Green to the basketball roster. If you're keeping track at home, this now means that K-State likely only has 2 scholarship spots remaining for their team this coming season. You can use up to 15. K-State made it clear likely that they're only going to stay at that 13 number that everybody had been at. But Marcus Johnson, coming from Bowling Green to Manhattan, averaged over 16 points per game last year, 5 boards, close to 2 assists. And a lot of people will take a look at the metrics for Marcus Johnson, the measurables, and say 6'7, 265. So he's going to play in the post. No. Don't be fooled by Marcus Johnson's stature. He's going to do some shooting and some scoring for K-State. And Drew, I know that I've been negative a lot during this period. I don't know how this actually will work in terms of the big picture for K-State, but I do like this addition. I think there's value here. It's a guy that can score. The things that he does well, they should translate, like almost 40% shooting from 3 on 6 attempts a game, good free throw shooter, and obviously puts himself in the right position to grab some rebounds. I I think this is a good ad for K-State. It's just, again, in terms of everything else you're looking at, 2 more spots left to fill. K-State, I think, seems like Elias Rapiak from Germany might be one of those. Like, that last roster spot is going to have to really be somebody that contributes, because I don't know that you have a lot of guys right now that are still to the level of getting you to be a top 10 team in the Big 12, which is what you need to be considered for the NCAA tournament next year.
Yeah, I think that on the surface level, Mark is a fine ad because I think that he has a role on a team because he can come in, he can really shoot the ball. I mean, you highlighted it, 39.4% on 6.2 attempts per game. It is really good in a catch and shoot scenario. I think he's in the 85th percentile in catch and shoot shots. But again, like big picture though, he doesn't really move the needle a ton for K-State, and they need a couple difference makers still on this roster. So that's where you kind of get a little bit weary, but he is a fun ad because I think that between him and Abdi Bashir, K-State has 2 guys that can really shoot it. But it's going to how the pieces work are going to be really interesting to me, because I think that the only way that Johnson can really survive at the power 4 level is really if you put him on defense against the worst offensive player on the other team, because he's not going to really wow you with athleticism. And that's just not really what he does as well, to be honest, is defend. He is an offensive minded player first and foremost that can do a lot of different things. Like, he is a wing, but he's also kind of a matchup problem because of how he plays, and kind of has that old man game a little bit to him, where he will back you down if you're not strong enough or you're not big enough, and is a good passer. But to make it work defensively, especially because we highlighted as soon as he committed, and he was the first one, that Abdi Bashir is not really a defender. It is a little bit worrying from that standpoint. But I think that you can do a lot of different things that really help offensively.
And because I would say that this team was bad last year at hiding their poor defenders. I mean, think of how many times people were griping about Brendan Haasen's defense. And I tried to make it clear, Brendan Haasen is, every time he's on the floor, he should be your worst defender of the 5 guys. It's up to the staff to put a team together that the other 4 can make up for the defensive deficiencies of Brendan Haasen. And it continued to be a problem that people griped about. So was it Brendan Haasen not receiving the message properly, or was it the people not relaying the proper message and also building a roster that could help mask it a little bit? So Marcus Johnson, like, if the circumstances were different, just like we talked about yesterday with Stephen Osei, I'm okay with it. I'm not complaining about it, but I'm just very, very skeptical because of what is remaining on this team right now, what they still have to add, and just the direction of the program currently. But like it's an exciting player to look at. Like, yes, there's the funny nature of a 6'7", 265 guy playing the way Marcus Johnson does, but like he has legitimate skills, like you're talking about, that K-State could use on their basketball team. He's an experienced dude. Like I think you get some of these guys that come in from certain backgrounds and they're going to be coming in and willing to do what they need to. He did things last year to help Bowling Green, and I think he can do things to help K-State. It's just, is this program actually the right spot for him and to make his skill set work to help to a team that needs to make the NCAA tournament? Because when we talk about K-State now, like that's the context that it has to be in. This team has to make the NCAA tournament this season. Does Marcus Johnson improve those odds? Maybe, but it's so dependent on how those last two scholarships get filled and then how the rest of the guys, like an Abdi Bashir, translate to moving up to this level and having to mask not being a great defender. Is Nate Johnson ready to do what he needs to? Is he going to be going from MAC Defensive Player of the Year to one of the best defenders in the Big 12? You're kind of needing that to happen based on some of the guys that you've added. Andre Kostic has to come in and instantly be one of the best players on your basketball team, and not just a good player, but the way K-State's constructed right now, he has to be a great player.
Yeah, and even to a certain extent, like Elliot Trapiak, if he ends up at K-State, needs to be one of K-State's best players right away. So I think that Johnson is a fine depth piece because I don't really expect him to come in and start, but I think that he's somebody that can give you like 15 to 20 minutes a game, and that these two plays against Michigan State are really Johnson at his best with the ball in his hands and really able to create, which is really, really fun to have for somebody really his size, because he is a very, very good passer, which was something that I really highlighted in a Recruit of the Week article that will be coming out soon, just talking about Johnson and more of his game. But yeah, I think that in a vacuum, Johnson is a fine ad and is a lot of fun because, I mean, I like players that can put the ball on the floor and distribute, create for themselves. He's a really good shooter. He can shoot it from really deep because I think that he was in like one of the upper percentiles and shots from like beyond 5 feet of the 3-point line as well. But it's going to come down to, can K-State either make him a better defender or can they hide him better? And then you look just at from the roster standpoint, there are more players that I can say, oh, they are a minus on the defensive end than I could say that they're a plus defender. So how they make it work defensively, because that is one thing that has been constant in the Jerome Tang era, is that the defense has been good. The weakness has been actually defensive rebounding, because they've been good defending the first shots every year in the Jerome Tang era. But what has really been the Achilles heel sometimes has been defensive rebounding. And they haven't really made any moves to even really take a better step from where they were the last 2 seasons when they were one of the bottom teams in the entire country in defensive rebounding. Because this is, again, another ad that doesn't really help you from that standpoint. But that's also kind of just a catch-22, because we thought that K-State's defensive rebounding last year was going to take a step, and it was even worse than it was 2 years ago.
And it should be mentioned, we thought the shooting was going to take a step forward last year, and it really didn't. You brought in a lot of guys that ended up not really living up to maybe the expectations that at least I had set forth for them. I thought it was going to be a significant step up, but you look at what K-State did. They shot 32.6% from 3 last season. That was only 0.6% better than what they had done the year before, and it felt like they didn't shoot it very well.
And that was with a guy that shot almost 40% from 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Brendan Hausen got better from 3 from what he did his last season at Villanova to K-State. And that was still a struggle point for the Wildcats. But Marcus Johnson, now a member of K-State's basketball roster. If you want the full breakdown of what it means, how the roster and team is looking like right now, go to K-StateOnline. We'll have you covered there and get you just all the analysis that you want from this edition, a little bit more info on Johnson and what comes next for K-State, trying to finish filling out this basketball roster for the 25-26 season. If you want the most extensive coverage of K-State and college sports right now, K-State Online and On3, it's the perfect spot for you. And yeah, also don't forget we're about a month and a half away from it getting even better when the merger between On3 and Rivals takes place. So get your first week for $1 right now, and you're going to probably keep the membership and everything you get with the community at K-State Online and On3. Also, before we get out of here, Aer Lingus College Football Classic, we are getting closer and closer to that date coming. Go to cats2ireland.com to get your travel and ticket info. So do you want a hospitality package? Do you want a travel package? Make life easy on you. You also get your game tickets with all those. Do it through cats2ireland.com, but you better do it quick because things are going to start getting a little dicey there. Supply is dwindling down as we get closer and closer to being 3 months away from the kickoff of this game on August 23rd, 2025. If you say, hey, I'm already going over there, I just need tickets, you're cutting it a little close, but go to kstatesports.com. They will also have info there on how you can buy game tickets. So that's the last word that I have. We'll go to Drew for an Irish fun fact.
We're going a little bit just kind of lame, I guess, would be
okay. That's right. I like it. I like lame.
Have you ever had an Irish stew before?
No, I've not had an Irish stew before.
Well, Irish stew originally used to be made with mutton, but now you can find them with like lamb or beef, and it's one of like the main like traditional dishes of Ireland. Has a lot of vegetables in it and some kind of meat, whatever you would like to put in it. So I just found that kind of interesting because I am a big like stew and soup person.
I'm a big soup person. I like a good soup. It's tough. My wife not a big soup person, so really it's like she'll do chili, but that's about the extent of her soup situation. So I grew up, we had like a lot of like potato soup at
See,
times.
I'm not even sure if chili is a soup. I think chili
Yeah,
is a kind of its own entity.
yeah, it kind of is. It's like a gateway drug to other soups, and
Yes.
like some people, they'll just use the gateway drug their entire life and they'll never go to the hard drugs.
Uh,
People like you and me, it's like we get chili and it's like, okay, I want to dive head first into the soup game. But I don't know that like, am I ready to get so hardcore with my soup usage that I'm ready to go into the stew game? I don't know. I don't
well,
think so.
my wife loves soup, and there will be days where it'll still be pretty hot outside, and she'll still ask if soup sounds good to me, and we'll have soup.
Yeah, I could do soup whenever, unless like I've been outside. Like if I go out and mow on like a 90-degree day, I probably don't want to come in and have soup that night. But if
No,
I've
yeah.
just,
If I've
it's
just
been
been
a pretty
inside,
mundane day.
yeah. If I've just been inside all day, like soup when it's 95, that's fine.
Yeah. Here's how much of a not soup person my wife is. She just like blindly assumed that like I didn't like tomato soup.
No, see, I
And
don't like tomato soup.
she just threw that out. I was like, no, I'm down for that. Like I like soup. I just don't get the opportunity to have it that much anymore. So maybe
That's a
I'll have to
killer.
give the Irish stew a go over there. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to hold my breath on it, though, considering anytime we've been around some other international offerings, we've walked into a restaurant and then walked right out on KSO road trips because we go, this looks
It's very
disgusting.
true.
Not naming names. Although that Brazilian steakhouse that was up in the BYU press box last year, I would
Yeah,
eat that
that
again. So
that was fantastic. Yeah.
yeah. Shout out to BYU. Still, I'm never
Still the
going to
best
get them
road
out of my
trip we've
mind.
done.
I
If you take away the game and then
yeah,
our
the travel
our
back.
98-hour travel day back, the best road trip I think we've gone on.
There's so much about like BYU that I think about on a daily basis. Like I can't wait to go back for the next trip there. Like I don't know. It was beautiful. The people were nice. Like, it was very accommodating. So I look forward to my next trip to BYU. Not to the state of Utah, but to BYU is what I'm saying. Maybe I'll have a different opinion after going to Salt Lake City for football this year. I'm not envisioning that the Utes are going to be as kind and nice as the Cougars. But we'll get out of here. Not the purpose of the video. Marcus Johnson, soup guy. I don't know. We might have to find out at some point. Really, the only food preferences in K-State athletics that I know of: Chris Kleiman, not a McRib guy. Found that out at media day. That was like 3 years ago. So may have to revisit that with him and see what his go-to orders might be in some situations. If he is easy as soup guy,
Vegas
I think it
guy,
says
Chris
a lot
Kleiman
about
as
you.
well.
All right. That's Drew Galloway. I'm Mason Vo. Thanks for watching K-State Online. We will get back with everybody in the coming days. More content coming your way. And if anything happens and you don't see something here, your best bet is go to KStateOnline.com over at On3. We'll have you covered there. So we're out of here. Talk to you again soon.